Hello, everyone. The end of the summer is upon us. So let's celebrate by getting together on August 21st at the Artisan Market at Hardywood, West Creek, because that is exactly where your boy is going to be setting up his table. That's right. I'm talking about myself. I guess I'm talking in third person, but that's where I'll be selling original artwork, paintings, drawings, illustrations, originals, prints, stickers, and yeah, I'll be happy to be at the market there, networking and talking to all the locals. So come through if you want to come out, support local artists and creators and all crafters. Um, yeah, August 21st from noon to 6. That is the end of the summer artisan market at Hardywood, West Creek. So if you live in or around Richmond, Virginia, mark your calendars. I hope to see you there. Let's get to the show. Hold on tight. This is gonna get tricky.
Oh no, you did not do that to me. Holy shit.
Yes.
Oh man, what's up? Did you just recently like re-listen to that song or something?
I
Man.
was listening to it.
Yeah,
Nothing's.
that was Nothing Could Be Finer.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh wow.
it still hits, man. It still hits. I
Oh,
still
thank
enjoy
you.
it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Honestly, we never did it. We never chatted face to face. It's always been on the headset.
I know. Yeah.
When we think about it. But yeah, I
That's
guess
nice.
we'll jump right into it. I'm gonna do this live intro, and then we'll just keep going and have fun with it.
Yeah, sure thing.
This is What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Rated G. I'm your host, G Terado. If you are new here, welcome to the show. This is a podcast where I sit down with with friends, local artists, creators, and other creative entrepreneurs, and we simply sit down and share honest discussions and conversations. Sharing our experiences throughout our creative journey and just the ups and downs and all that good jazz. Hopefully, bringing some value to anyone listening or watching, especially if you are pursuing a creative endeavor as well. So if you enjoy this content, please be sure to like and subscribe, ring that notification bell. That way you can keep up with all the current uploads. And feel free to leave a comment, especially if you're watching on YouTube. I always love engaging with the comments, especially if people leave questions. I love doing Q&As at the end, if and when possible. And for anyone listening, welcome back to the show, and thank you for your continued support. Now, don't forget, anytime I'm featuring a guest on the show, please be sure to check out the show descriptions so you can check out the links provided. That way you can continue to follow them and their journey. Now, let's get to the guest. This is a very special occasion. I've known this artist for since probably like around maybe 2010, 2012-ish area. Been almost 10 years, actually. And we met over this zombie game known as Left 4 Dead. And yeah,
Everyone knows what it is.
yeah, I feel like it's inevitable that we'll be doing a little reminiscent of the good days. But they are I don't know if you still play the drums, but I knew you as a drummer. But you are a fashion designer, crafting artisanal clothing for ENTREM. I apologize if I'm okay, cool. But I also know you as a painter. So, ladies and gentlemen, of course, non-binary, please welcome for the first time, Dylan Pritchard.
Thank you so much. Wow. Yeah, thank you for having me on. This is awesome. This is actually the second podcast I've ever done in my life. So it's Really a pleasure to be here. Great. It's
Awesome.
also amazing to see your lovely face again in this way. Yeah,
Yeah.
God, we've just known each other for so long. I could have sworn that we started playing like video games through the internet together in like 2009. I'm
Oh,
pretty sure because I'm
Okay.
pretty sure because I was still in high school.
Oh my
It's
God.
crazy. It had to have been before I graduated because I remember in 2010 is when the first band formed, which was Alice Practice that I was started out playing drums for.
Yeah.
But since then, I definitely evolved from being a
Right.
drummer into like other instruments and stuff
Of
as well. So I
course.
learned how to play bass, I learned how to play guitar, and like I've been playing instruments, like different instruments for all sorts of different kinds of bands for like
Hmm.
the following 10 years after. But no, we've known each other since like 2009. It's been
Okay.
like, yeah,
I
quite a
apologize.
while.
I knew I was gonna get it wrong, but yeah. I mean, yeah, because I knew it was at around about the end of my college years, and yeah, I think just since then, after meeting you and two other online players, we just sort of formed this clique. And like I didn't have any other group of friends that I played Left 4 Dead with for hours, unless it was Davey. Davey
Yeah,
lived in the
Davey,
same town as me though, so
classic.
he was
Yeah, I
yeah,
remember he would
class.
come over to your place and then he would split screen with you so the three of us could play so that we would have an actual team.
Yeah.
That must have been so awful. I can't imagine playing that game split screen
Oh
with
my
all the
God.
chaos. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I know. Oh man, good times though, because I don't know. I just remember a lot of laughs. I mean, there were a lot of competitive moments when it
Oh,
came
for
to
sure.
online, especially in Left 4 Dead. But I just remember a lot of late nights, fucking chain smoke. I was like, see, this is the funny thing about this right now for people that are tuning in, because again, we've known each other for over 10 years, right? My math is right on that, right?
Mhm. Yeah, oh,
Okay.
absolutely.
And but we never really, unless we saw pictures, but never did an actual face-to-face chat. Never did a FaceTime.
Which is really
Uh,
funny though that we actually never met up in person either, because I'm pretty sure I've lived in Philadelphia for like six
yeah.
years, almost 7 years. And so like I moved up here while I guess you were still in New Jersey,
Yeah,
right?
I'll take the blame on that. I remember we talked about it. We definitely tried, planning something for it. Just never fell through. Probably my fault. Probably got just
It's fine.
preoccupied.
You're busy. You're busy. I'm busy. We're all busy. We're adults here.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. Well, and so like going back too, you were so young then. So when I met you, is definitely a different part of your life, your
Oh
younger
yeah, I was
life.
probably what, like 17, like 17,
It's
18.
fucking wild.
Yeah. I just turned 30 like a few months ago.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, that's not.
Woo!
No, that's a good age. Like
Oh
I'd
yeah.
say early 30s is a good age.
Oh, absolutely. I'm about to hit my stride for sure.
But you're looking good. You're looking healthy. I mean,
Thank you, thank you. Same to
yeah.
you, dude.
Well, thanks.
I see you on Instagram. You're lifting weights.
I
I don't
know.
lift any weights. So you got me
Yeah, I
beat
got
there.
addicted. I got addicted. Yeah, again, when we were all still tight on Left 4 Dead. Uh, well, I mean, even off Left 4 Dead, but during those days, like I was like at my worst state. Like I didn't give a shit about anything. I was completely neglectful of my health, and I was, I smoked
Yeah,
cigarettes like constantly. Oh, jeez. Are
yeah.
you because thinking of those days, like playing those games till like fucking I know we definitely played till almost sunrise. Like there were
Oh
definitely
yeah.
those nights.
At least like 2, 3 in the morning, like most
Yeah.
nights.
Are you still like a night owl? Because I'm definitely not.
Absolutely not. No, 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 no,
Oh
no.
yeah.
I grew out of that shit hard. Yeah, I normally like you told me the podcast tonight was gonna start at 8, and I was like, oh Because normally I'm like in bed by like 9, you know. I'm just like I'm out cold. I was like wake up around anywhere from 5 to 6 in the morning every morning, you know, have my coffee, dude. I'm like very much into my routine. That's how I keep myself sort of like on schedule to do my either my daily tasks, my creative tasks, whatever I need to do, you know. So yeah, I definitely like even the thought of staying up until like midnight now, I'm like, oh, no way, man.
Yeah. I respect the discipline because I'm the same way myself with my daily routines and my schedules. Yeah, I get up around 5 a.m. and do my little chores, get ready for the gym and whatnot. And then yeah, usually if I'm lucky, depending on how hard I get the food coma. It's
Right, yeah.
usually like by the end of the evening, I'm like just ripped. I'm high as shit. It's like I just at the end of the day, I'm just high. I'm gluttonous, and then I'll
Sure,
usually
yeah.
start passing out. It's really funny. My Fitbit will start tracking at like sometimes like 6:45 or like 7, and that's when I know I'm like I've eaten real heavy. But yeah, 8 or like 9, we're hitting the bed. Actually, honestly, we start walking to the bedroom around 8 or 8:30.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
take melatonin gummies, and then we're out.
Whoa. Wow, you're serious about it.
Well,
Damn.
honestly, it's hard for me to stay asleep.
Oh, really?
So, um, or at least, or even just get to fall asleep. So, yeah, I don't know what it is. Like, as soon as I wake up, like if I get up to take a piss, like as soon as I'm up, my mind starts it just starts going, thinking about what I gotta do today, what I gotta do tomorrow. So it's like I don't know. It's like when I have to get up and piss, I have to make sure I do it quick, like so fast enough that I don't
Yeah.
have enough time to think about the day, and it's
Well,
just like weird.
I guess technically an overactive mind is can be a more creative mind. So
It could, I mean, possibly. It just sucks because like, I could be getting up at like 2 o'clock or like 3 o'clock, sometimes midnight, and then once my mind starts or like a song gets stuck in my head or just like
yeah.
something to stimulate the mind, it's just like, oh, gotcha, bitch.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
like laying in bed thinking about that shit all like for like an hour.
yeah.
It's yeah. So yeah, I have to. Unfortunately, I rely on the gummies to try to keep me asleep as long as possible.
Well, shit, as long as they work.
Yeah, but yeah. Where do we begin? Where do we begin?
Where do we begin? There's just so much happened in the past like
I
12 years.
know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I want to do my best to allow to promote you and your business. I mean, I guess should we just start from there, from the business, and then we'll just dance around other
Sure.
right. So
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is all right. I did say it correctly in the beginning, right? ENTREM.
yeah. You got it.
Yeah. Now is that yours? Are you the founder owner of ENTREM?
Yeah, so I am the founder and owner of the brand pretty much in its entirety. So
Okay.
like everything that you see that revolves around the brand in general, so down to all the design, all the graphic design, everything that went behind the clothing, has all been me as basically a part of my graduation project for the independent fashion design school that I attended here in Philadelphia for like 2 years.
Mm,
So I basically went to the school. At the end of the school, the graduation requirements are that you have a capsule collection, you know, at the end of it. And it's not really necessarily required that you have like a full brand and business, but that was always kind of my idea and my goal going into it. Being like, okay, I know if I'm going to make an entire like collection of clothing, I would love to have my own business and my own brand, and I would love to just just run it, you know.
mm.
So that's kind of where I'm at now. So yeah, it's a completely made to order brand, which means that nothing. I don't have stock. of any of the products, at least currently. I do have some plans like in the future to do things a little bit more differently, potentially with the diffusion line within the brand itself. But so basically, all of the stuff that you see on the website, whenever somebody goes to purchase it, I then take that money to buy all the supplies, all the fabrics, everything like that. And then I have a small team of professional garment workers. Like there are like 2 or 3 of them that I work with. They're basically like a sample making team that work in a factory setting in Brooklyn. And I get all of my supplies sent to them, and they create the final products for the customers. Because a lot of what I do in being a fashion designer is I basically make all my own patterns for the clothing. I source everything. You know, I do sample sewing myself, like prototyping of my designs and stuff. So I get everything nailed down exactly how I want it as far as construction and detail and everything goes. And then I send that off to my team, and then they reconstruct the clothing in their final fabrics with the final, like, you know, hardware and everything like that that I've picked out as well, that I've sourced. So yeah, it's pretty crazy, and not a lot of people. I find that it's really difficult to convey the amount of work and effort that goes into something like this, and the really limited like amount of people that are working on these garments. I find it hard to convey that entirely through just like having the website with some product photos and some lifestyle shots. You know, it's really difficult because I think a lot of people go to the website itself and they're just like, oh, this sweater is like over $400. That's kind of crazy. You know what I mean? But there's this, it's like, it is that way for a reason, you know?
Yeah.
Because there's such a small crew of workers that are, you know, everything's made in the US. Small crew professionals all making the clothes. Most of this cost is honestly just like going to labor. A lot of the money that's going into this is like, I'm not even really considering profit as much as I am just like, okay, I want to put my stuff out there, and I want to make sure the people that I'm working with that are constructing my designs that are going out to the customers are being paid fairly. So that's where a lot of the money is going to. But yeah, I find that it's kind of difficult to try to put that out there and to really get people to see that, to understand that, and to want to know like why they should invest in the brand itself.
That alone, that sort of like that like business dilemma, you know, like I mean, it could be a good problem to have, but that speaks so many levels, because we all creatives deal with that same fucking issue when it comes to pricing our work. It took me so many years, and I still technically underprice my work.
Sure, yeah.
It's so hard to really give like your honest pricing, because sometimes, you know, from experience, I'll just say it for myself, it scared a lot of people away. And I know it's like, you know, I don't know, like at the time when I was trying to make that offer, like I was probably just so hungry that I was willing to take anything at that point. Now I'm a little more, you know, I have more confidence in myself, and I actually price my work decently. But it took me so many years to really, you know, charge the original asking price, because people, they don't understand the labor and materials that are included, especially if you're shipping it to them, like this product, whatever it may be. Like, yeah, that's gonna cost money too, bitch. Like, you know, so like, just some people really just don't understand when they're like, oh, what? Especially when you're talking about an original piece, if it's a one of a kind item, like, yeah, like, you know, like if this was like made out of your blood, sweat, and tears and what have you, like, yeah, you're gonna like, you're gonna sell that shit for, you know, for a good price.
For sure.
We all struggle with that. But I respect the hustle, and that's great that you got this little crew right now. I mean, as difficult as some of these things may be right now, but at least you got a crew willing to work with you, and it seems like you got like a solid operation going.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've definitely sold a few things, but
Yeah,
not enough to really have it become sort of like my full-time thing. You know what
right.
I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it's tough for sure.
Yeah, say we're well, a lot of the people I talk to on the podcast, we're all in the same boat there. We're trying to get to that point where we can essentially make a living off of it, make enough money, you know, but it's the long game,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah, totally.
But before you did the fashion designing, how did you go there from painting? Because you were
Oh
painting a
yeah,
lot at one point.
yeah. I don't really know. It was like how did that transition even really occur? It was kind of like well, we'll back it up because I think it'll make more sense if I sort of go through the entire, not necessarily the entire catalog of everything I've done, but sort of in a timeline that makes sense, so I can
Yeah,
kind of put
sure.
it better into perspective a little better. So I started playing drums around like a year or so after we had like met through the internet or so. So I started playing drums with some of my friends locally where I was living in North Carolina. So we made the band, and I was in that band for like a couple years. That eventually split off, and then I went on to do other things. Learned a few other instruments, started playing in other different kinds of bands, and really sort of like figuring out what I wanted to do creatively, musically, and all the above. So, um, but then I realized I hit sort of like a roadblock in music as far as where I was geographically,
Mm,
because the area that I was in North Carolina was like there wasn't much there, and I even lived in a few different places in North Carolina. So at least for what I wanted to do musically and what I wanted to get out of what I was, I want what I wanted to be reciprocated by a community as far as what I was trying to put into a community just wasn't there. So I was like, okay, where can I go to where I can like meet a shitload of new people and potentially sort of like start a band, and just write and play music that I really love. And so I ended up settling on Philadelphia because it was like close enough to North Carolina where it's not like I was moving completely on the other side of the country, like away from my family members and stuff. And it's also Philadelphia. The infrastructure of Philadelphia is kind of shit, so it's pretty cheap.
yeah.
Like honestly, so yeah, so I ended up moving to Philly, and I started a band in Philly that I played in for like 3 years or so. I was playing guitar um,
Okay.
in that band, and that band was called Cavity Kids. We put out 2 records, uh, and whenever that band had broken off, uh, I sort of like went in this different direction because I've been playing music for so long. We're talking about like 11 years straight of me like trying and trying and trying, and just ultimately this project just kept like failing essentially. Oh, not fail. I don't want to say failing because like I genuinely enjoy a lot of the stuff that I put out either by myself or with other people over the years, but there was something in me that really wanted to transition from having to rely on like 2 or 3 other people to like pull these big projects together to just being able to be like, okay, can I just like rely on myself and do some other like form of art that I feel like will give me the same sort of satisfaction that I had been getting from music for so long, And for a while, I was doing like right after the band broke up, the last band that I was in, right after it broke up, I kind of converted to doing a lot of digital art for a while, just as something that I thought would be like cool and interesting to do. So I was making these really like harsh, noisy, sort of like brutalist collage artworks, right? And the name of that project that I had put out, sort of like it was really like a short-lived thing that I did on Instagram, but I called it Entirely Removed, and that was the moniker that I used, which I thought seemed like kind of fitting for sort of the aesthetic that I was going for with the graphic design that I was doing at the time. Um, so doing that and like getting more involved in doing digital art, which is just a visual art in itself, led to me becoming really interested in just creating physical art outside of that space and outside of digital space. So I started just looking into painting, and I pretty much like, I don't want to say I'm like self-taught. I just never, I just sort of like, okay, I'm going to buy a canvas. Here are a bunch of like paint supplies. I'm just going to do what comes naturally to me. And I'm just going to like make what I know to make. And the more that I started doing it, the more I got really intrigued by it. And the more I started like looking up documentaries about painters and like really understanding the history of the art form itself and stuff like that. It was all like really cool and really interesting to me. But at the same time that I was doing this, I was also exploring fashion in the way that I personally dress, like with my personal style, as an art form in itself. Because fashion in a ton of ways is an extremely diverse art form. Which a lot of people don't really understand that. It's like fashion, oh yeah, it's just like clothes. You just like throw on clothes, everybody does it, which is true to an extent. But there's so much artistically that goes into every single facet of everything you've ever worn that you just never think about, that it's just like mind-boggling. So at the same time that I was exploring this new world of visual arts and creating a bunch of paintings and stuff, I was also exploring myself in a way that I hadn't previously in terms of personal style. And so eventually those two just kind of like collided in a way where I could be like, okay, I can make physical art and also make it my own personal fashion style by being a fashion designer. And so all of my design ideas and concepts, I just started translating over into creating clothes rather than doing paintings or creating music or creating digital art or doing graphic design or anything like that. So yeah, I feel like it's just been a slow rise and culmination up to this point for me to really find my niche and what I want to do creatively, especially because it's something that I can literally just like it's one of those things, you can just like throw headphones on and do it for like 8 hours straight, just unfazed. And whenever you come out of it at the end of it, you have something physically that you've created that you're just like, you can be really proud of. You're just like, oh yeah. You know what I mean? It's just like a really satisfactory feeling, like fully constructing something from start to finish, especially going from like designing it in the 2D space and having it become 3-dimensional is something I find really intriguing as well. But yeah, I mean, that's the short version.
No, this is really, I'm really happy we're having this discussion, because again, knowing you this long, we never had this type of conversation, so it's really cool to hear to hear this side of you. Again, I guess technically, like, I'm still, when I think of you, I'm thinking of teenage Dylan from, what was it? Silver? No, were you like Silverfish or something on
oh god, Silverfish, those scary little bugs with the million legs. Is that what you're talking about? No, I know what you're talking about. The gamer tag was ginormous fish. Forever ago, and I think you remember our long sort of like history and saga of I don't know if you remember this at all actually, but I would love to know that you do. But there was a period of time where my Xbox Live subscription had run out, right? And I wasn't able to get on for like 6 months because I didn't have any money. So like I couldn't just pay to have another Xbox Live subscription. So whenever I finally did, I came back on. Except I changed my gamer tag to the Fish Returns, and I think that was the last gamer tag I ever had on Xbox Live.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
The last time I checked, I still have Code of Conduct.
Yeah.
Nice. No, back to your art. I remember when you were painting a lot. And I actually do remember having this thought. I'm like, man, I'm like, Dylan's, he's doing a lot of paintings lately. And like, it felt like you were on this sort of journey of self-discovery and like just learning more about your creative side. So I
Absolutely.
just remember having that thought. I'm like, oh, like he's, he's doing his thing, doing their thing, and figuring out what's a great fit. Because I've only known you as a musician, and I remember you play.
Yeah.
I do recall seeing, yeah, just seeing photos of you. I thought you were playing bass, or you probably played bass also at one point, right? Because I
I
remember,
played,
or it was a guitar, I
yeah.
guess.
Well, I've played both. It just depends on
Yeah,
like what project I was doing at the time. So
yeah,
there's no telling. I think I only played bass for a very short amount of time. I think there were like a
mm,
couple different small projects.
yeah,
But then I switched over to guitar, and then for however many years I just like played guitar. So I was just writing my own stuff, you know. So
yeah.
I just couldn't stop writing music in all sorts of different forms.
Mm,
It's kind of like you know, for better or worse. It was like one of my I don't know. I wouldn't say that it's necessarily a downfall, but I have the tendency to sort of like spend seriously long amounts of time doing like one project, and then it's sort of like migrating into a completely different project, and then doing the same thing again and again and again. You know what I mean? So like I've like played so many different kinds of music. I feel like I sort of, yeah, eventually kind of burnt myself out on it a little bit. And especially in being, you know, being at the whim of other people, like trying to play in all these different bands and stuff, you know, that it was time to make a transition that felt more stable for me creatively.
yeah.
And so that's why I did the whole, you know, the transition into physically creating things, you know, which I think
Mm,
is extremely gratifying.
yeah. Well, I'm happy to have been able to see this, these transformations, because it's like, I don't know. I feel like if you were to put like your work side by side without you in the shot, right? We're just looking at these products. You'd be like,
Sure.
oh, this is all like one person's creation,
Mm-hmm.
which like I love that. I love it when artists are more they're multifaceted. I say jack of all trades a lot. Like I love it when artists are capable of creating in other ways and different crafts.
Oh yeah,
So,
for sure. Yeah, I know a lot of really talented people that are like that. But I find a lot of the time with those people though, it's hard to get them to like stick with one thing enough that you know that they're really good at and they could like really go far with and succeed with. And sometimes you just want to like grab them and be like, "You're so good at this thing, just do it.
oh
Just do it and
yeah,
give it your all." You know what I mean? Uh,
yeah.
but yeah,
Sometimes I hear that and I'm like, for me, I kind of have to go with like my gut feeling.
yeah,
Like, like a lot of people ask me about comic books and stuff. And at one point I wanted to try to get into comics, but knowing like, the type of shit you would have to deal with at different studios, like, I don't know if that's for me. Never really
yeah.
been like, I don't know. I've had like some corporate gigs, small gigs, but just knowing how corporate works and stuff, like big businesses, I'm like, it's not for me. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't.
for sure. Well,
Um,
you're doing pretty well for yourself in Richmond, right? Like off of your art, or what do you have going on
well,
other than that?
that's kind of you to say. I mean, all I can say is I keep the machine going as long as I can. Like I try to keep busy, try to always have. I mean, there's ups, there's it's like a double-edged sword, because I really do focus sometimes a lot on having content to always have to put out. But then that takes away from actually creating the art. And then even when creating the art, I'm always thinking, oh, I should, have a setup where I can still record whatever I'm working on. That way, in the future, I'll always have content to work with for, marketing, what have you.
Yeah, yeah,
But then that takes me out of being present. So it's like, I don't know how to describe it really. but it's like I'm always like in this like battle of like, I'm always like thinking of all the other things instead of just what's in front of me, the task at hand. Or
Right. Yeah.
so it adds a lot of anxiety and just it just keeps adding more weight to it, like unnecessarily. So yeah. But I do love it. Like I went to, so it's funny you're in Philly because I went to the Art Institute and I went for media arts and animation. So I do love editing. I do love filming. I do love editing footage and with music. Big fan of music, so
For sure.
I love doing all that stuff. So it's weird. It's like another one of those things I enjoy doing. So it's like I love creating art and I also love creating, I guess, media or content, however you want to label it.
Yeah.
So I often battle with like balance, finding a balance. Um, making sure I'm spending enough time painting or drawing or whatever, the art form is, and then
Sure.
and then time of sitting down and editing podcasts, because that's what a lot of time it has been. I've been logging a lot of podcasts so I can keep it's a weekly thing, so I try to always make sure I have something I can put out. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I get it. I understand the
Yeah.
juggling act for
Yeah.
sure. I don't really know how I handle balance specifically. I just kind of feel like I do, or at least creatively. I don't know if you just mean like, you mean like overall, the overall like scope of your professional life
Honestly,
as well as the creative side of your life. But
actually, a lot of cases when I'm having that kind of discussion, it's usually balancing the job, some regular 9 to 5, and then the passion.
sure.
A lot of times I'm having that conversation with people. Fortunately for me, I'm fortunate enough to be able to work from home. Um, so there are some things like I don't have to face that other people have to deal with. But yeah, it's just like, and so it's like that, and like time management, knowing like how, all right, like what's the best time to be able to really use my creativity, when am I best, what's the best time for it, before work, after work, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like we all try to like figure these answers out, but everyone's
Yeah.
different, so
Yeah,
yeah.
unfortunately for me, it's kind of like okay, if I don't have to work that day, it's like okay, my day I have the day off. Let's just use that to sew for 12 hours. It's kind of like a blessing and a curse to have such a like a ridiculous work ethic.
Yeah.
Because I just kind of don't stop. I'm kind of like always on the go. And then when I'm not on the go, I feel like I'm under accomplishing things. So I'm just like, if I have a full day where I like didn't do anything at all, not even necessarily creatively, but anything sort of like uh, on the back end of my business, like, oh, if I'm not sort of like putting together these like Illustrator pages or spreadsheets or something to like prepare for the next project. If I'm not doing that, then I'm like I feel like I'm falling behind, even though I'm not. So I'm kind of just like constantly like on the go,
Yeah.
for better or worse. Um,
Mm.
and maybe that leads to the sort of like burnout, and the need to feel to be like, okay, I need to like move on to a completely different type of project or something. I'm not too sure, but I feel like in controlling a fashion brand specifically, there are so many different aspects of things that I have to do that I can kind of never really get bored with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah. That's fine. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I know that I do spend a lot of time with the podcast, but I really enjoy it. So it's tough. But, aside from doing that, I'm working on commissions and I'm trying to get back on my own, like on my private work. So yeah, I think I am because again I'm logging episodes, so I do feel a sense of burnout coming in. Like I had to take a break from my office today and like just go out for the day because all I do every day is sit in this office and I'm editing or I'm working at the studio desk. So I'm like, I gotta.
So you do all your work in the same room that you do your creative work.
When my wife is not home, I live in this office.
Damn.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that. Yeah, I have a whole well, obviously I don't work from home, so it's pretty easy to separate those two things. But yeah, I mean, I have my whole like sewing studio and storage and everything is set up in the basement of our house. So that's where I am now. If you can't tell from the rafters, but yeah, so I can just like literally only come down here when I need to do like sewing work or something creative specifically. I just like come down here to do it, and then everything else is just completely removed from that. So I feel fortunate enough to have my own studio space and my own space that's dedicated just to that, because I feel like that also really helps me focus, because I know that when I'm in that particular space, I know that this is the thing that I'm going to be doing.
Oh yeah, having your own creative spaces. This is a big step up from our last apartment. Like I just had my like wall space in our bedroom.
Yeah.
Now I actually have like a whole room to myself that I can work in. It's nice. Although it's like weird because when there are like holidays, national holidays, when people are off work, my wife is in the living room and I'm stuck in here, like it throws me off. It like throws off the whole ecosystem off. Because I'm used to just me and the cats, just me and the boys just chilling. I'm working, and yeah. So it's funny when there's like another body here. It's like, what the fuck? No, which funny thing is my wife was same person from when we were playing Left 4 Dead back in the day.
Oh yeah,
she's the same person.
Nicole, right?
Yeah. Tolerated all that shit.
I can't believe it. Congratulations. Honestly. How long have you two been together now?
Like overall or married?
Just overall, I'm just curious.
I want to say 17, but something tells me I might be off. It's like something like it's definitely been over 15 years.
That's crazy.
Track. I know.
Wow. Congratulations. That's amazing.
Made it work somehow.
I recently got married as well.
Word. Well, congrats. Yeah. Actually, I did not know that. So congratulations.
Yeah, I got the ring on right here.
Oh shit.
Yeah, my spouse and I got married in March.
Okay.
Of this year. So yeah, it's been great. And we also just bought a house last December.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, bought a house in Philly.
What's it like being a homeowner?
It's pretty cool. It's pretty nice. Yeah. I mean, thank God I don't have to pay this scumbag landlord anymore.
Yeah. We were hoping to get to that point, moving to Richmond, but then just we were just on a debate on whether to buy land, build a house, or buy a house and do rebuild it or whatever, fixer upper. And then just as time went on, wood like lumber was getting real expensive and just things kept getting worse, and like now it's like a really bad market, I guess, to go house hunting. So
oh yeah, it's horrible now. I mean, luckily when we bought our house, the market was like perfect.
Yeah,
it was great. Yeah, we're like locked in at like barely a 3% interest rate on our house, which is like it jumped from that to like 15% or something, like insane, or at least like in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. We got lucky when we bought when we did.
Man, it's been so long since I've been in Philly. I can't
miss
imagine.
It?
I mean, It's really hard to say. I would probably just say no.
Yeah,
Just because
that's
it's been
fair.
so, just only because it's been so long, and I know
Right. Yeah.
that if I know a lot of things have changed, like the Love Park is different. It got like remodeled or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know, and I don't know. I just feel like, yeah, it would, and
Well,
like I wouldn't even know where I would, if we were still, if I was still there. Like it's kind of crazy to think, like I don't know, like what would have it been like if we like, connected in Philly? If I never moved back to Jersey and stayed in Philly, that would have been interesting. If we were to still cross paths.
it could
Uh,
still happen.
but yeah, yeah. Every now and then I think about Philly just because good memories there. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I still have a lot of exploring to do here. I just been
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
so
Because
cooped
you're
up.
trying to, are you trying to stay in Richmond for a while?
Yeah.
For like quite a while, like for good?
Yeah, I hate moving and
Oh yeah,
just
it
over the
sucks.
years move. Honestly, since our days playing Left 4 Dead, ever since I moved out of my parents' house, like I've just been moving from one place to another, like staying with one sibling and then moving out and staying with another sibling to the point where finally me and my wife found, got a place. Um, but I hate moving.
Yeah, it's the
So,
absolute worst, which is why like I've yeah, I've cemented myself in one place, and I don't want to really ever have to think about moving
yeah.
again. Yeah.
And the thought of owning a house, like it's nice, but I'm not handy at all. So like all that, like all like the real grown up shit, like I don't know, like renovating and stuff, and it's like yeah,
You just got to know the right people.
yeah. It's just like just tell me what you need me to do, I'll do it. Unless it's complicated, get a professional. No, but hopefully, well, yeah, we were hoping by the end of this year we would at least find a house, but yeah, we'll see. Maybe hopefully next year things will let up.
Yeah, yeah, totally. That'd be great.
Well, my wife wants to get a tiny house or build a tiny house, and
Oh,
I don't know if that's still in the air, but I
yeah, I like the idea, but I know that I just have too much shit.
yeah,
I
same.
just have too much stuff to make it like
Well,
like really viably work.
our ideal tiny house would be not like tiny. It would be like it would be like a decent size. I would have my own little man hut, so like detached or
Or
something. Yeah, like it's really funny. She did a lot of thinking behind it during quarantine. So like
yeah,
so whatever, if it goes that route, I feel like I don't have to worry about it. She knows as long as I have my workspace and we have like a workout station, I'll be okay.
yeah.
Like that's all I need. I need to be able to create art and like stay in shape as long as I can. Oh,
So, how many you sell a ton of commission work? Like people commission you to do stuff. I mean, I see you post stuff pretty regularly, right?
um, so the commissions did, thankfully they picked up this year. So I've had a good run so far with commissions. Um, it really depends. I haven't since moved here. It's been kind of tough because I really felt like I was really just restarting everything. This is
Sure.
like considering, when we were still in Jersey, I was doing like all the seasonal markets for Trenton. Been doing that for like years with them. Like I was pretty like I had a good foundation of like I had my foot in the door with certain events that always did well for us, and then having to move to a new city and new community, which it's a great art community. The art is everywhere here in the city, and local music's great. So all of that's great. but just getting my name out there again, and just you know it's that was pretty tough for like the first year. I'm slowly getting going out there and getting to know some people in the community. Like I've had some people, some local artists on the podcast, and getting to know them and getting to know more about like other markets, because the market scene here is crazy. It's like, I mean, what some people say, and almost saturated, because there's so many different markets that go on the same weekend. And like there's even one nearby, they do a market every weekend, and it's like, oh, like it's great, but then it kind of hurts the vendors, because it's not a constant foot traffic when it's like happening all the time. So it's been tough kind of like figuring out like the good markets to get into. And not only that, it's hard getting my foot in the door. Like right now I think I'm just on waiting lists. And then hopefully when the opportunity presents itself, I'll be able to, they'll reach out, send me like an invoice to do whatever event if I apply to it. There's one town, Charlottesville, we actually been doing really well. And those were there were festivals. So we're kind of like in this spot of trying to figure out, do we try to stick with doing more markets so we can just become more familiar with the the locals, or do we focus on displaying at festivals, because that's been like really successful lately. So it's I don't know. I try to stay busy. So like the stuff recently have been like commission work. I try not to like reveal too much. But and then I got to finish a painting of mine. It's actually like that one right there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And then I gotta get back on the commissions. I got a couple more I gotta work on. And then that's the thing too. Like I'm just trying to stay busy so I can get the next market that's gonna be popping up. Like I only have one event booked, but that's not until the end of August. So I'm like, shit. Because I feel like I'll get more commissions once when I'm like out there more,
Yeah,
so.
totally.
Yeah, so that's been the game I've been playing as of late, is just trying to do as many markets as I can, like at least some of the good ones that are going on. And then I also do these like monthly like these art hunts. So I'll do like a nice like 5x7 illustration of, I don't know, like what I do recently. I did like Obi-Wan Kenobi because of the show that came out recently. And I'll just like go out somewhere in Richmond and just like stick it somewhere, leave a post-it, says like free art,
That's fun.
Follow Art of G Terado, just again to get my name out there somehow, hopefully get a follow, or maybe it'll lead to something else. I don't know, like
cool.
I know it disturbs some of my artist friends, because it's like, you're putting time into it. Like I don't put a lot of time, like maybe an hour.
Yeah.
It's like, and honestly, personally, like if I like putting in an hour or two into something, that's like, I'm not bothered by it. So
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's just like, it's literally like you're not working for nothing. Actually,
Yeah,
it's just promote. It's technically promotion.
it really is.
It's like tiny promotional material that you're just like throwing out into the world.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, I learned it from, oh geez, I don't know, my wife's cousin told me about this Pittsburgh artist that was doing something like that. He did like his artwork is a little more simpler than like I'm doing like small portraits and stuff. So like, his, I'm like, I'm not like trying, it's not no competition, but again, I just try to whip up something fun and then just put it out there in hopes that it'll lead to like a networking or some other opportunity in the future.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, and that's it. Really, just that. I don't know, like when I have to like describe how like a typical day for me, it's like it's so like now it's like it's just monotonous. Everything I do is like on repeat. So I'm like, it's literally all I do. It's like I podcast or I edit or I'm drawing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's about it.
And it's
But
and then when Nicole gets home, I hit the switch. I switch to husband mode and start dinner and shit. Become the
well,
house husband.
I gotta say, I think you're a great artist. I
Okay.
love what you do. I also love the fact that you were still sticking with it as hard as you are. Because I will go on record to say, and I don't know if you remember this, but I was one of those people. I think I might have been the first one to push you to actually put your stuff out there, to like get it in an exhibit or at a festival or literally anything. Just put it out there. I'm like, your stuff is good. You got to believe in it. You got to go for it.
Absolutely. Actually, yeah, I'm actually really glad you brought that up. That is 100% true. For the people that are tuning in, Dylan did indeed help push me. You really did give me, yeah, that push to, you know, trust in myself and my ability. Even with the zombifying thing, you helped me like make that decision of, what, yeah, I think that's gonna be my niche, is I'm gonna zombify people because I zombified you.
Yeah, yeah,
and
absolutely.
then
Me
and
and
then
the rest of the
I
band, that was great.
zombified the band, and that led to another band that wanted to get zombified, and I wasn't even like charging. I think that I don't did I charge you guys? Because
I don't
like,
remember. I mean, maybe it might have been like 50 or $75 or
yeah, I
something.
was like charging
Something
like,
outrageously low. Something that
but it's
should have been
just,
like something that was like illegally low.
well, like I think, well, I was gonna say like you like either your Alice Practice or this other band. What were they called? Oh, geez, I can't remember, but
Was it a New
yeah,
Jersey
well,
band?
I think so. But you guys were like my first. One of you guys were like my first clients. Like I just started. This is why I
Right.
started taking it seriously. But I remember doing like a zombie sketch and running it by you because we're fucking zombie addicts at the time. We're like, yo, this
Oh
is
yeah.
cool. Yeah, do it. I was like, all right.
Do you remember the photo shoot that our band had to go along with the image that you drew? Do you remember that? Because we had a photo shoot where it's like we did sort of like we did like almost zombie-esque like makeup, but it was mostly like fake cuts and bruises and stuff
Well,
like that. And like one of us was like holding a baseball bat. And
yes.
we had this whole like oh
Yep.
my god, it's so embarrassing. I look back at it now and I'm like, I just look at myself, because it's so funny the way that because I look so young. I had like a big swoop haircut. I was probably like wearing a vest or
Oh my.
something and like a tight band t-shirt. So funny.
It's crazy. That's crazy looking back. Oh my god, it's 2022. Damn, it's so fucking far back. So I'm starting to feel old now a little bit. I'm starting to feel a little old now. Thanks a lot, Dylan.
Yeah. I mean, no, it's not my fault. No, I'm old too. Don't even worry about it.
Do you still like zombies?
Um, maybe, it depends.
Maybe.
Like, okay, honestly, I don't ever feel like I was super into zombies and zombie lore. But I just fucking loved Left 4 Dead. I feel like that was it. Like that was the only thing. But the game was so good. The mechanics were like amazing. Of course, it's the Steam engine or whatever, the Valve engine,
Yeah.
whatever it's called. Yeah, so good.
Is that really
Uh,
why you played Left 4 Dead? You just loved that
well,
game?
okay. Let me tell you why I got into that game in general was because like a year prior to that, I got really into Soul Calibur 4. Okay.
Okay, that's
On
a
the
solid
Xbox
game.
360, which is
Respect.
pretty good. Yeah. And so like I got really like competitively into it. And I met someone on the Soul Calibur forum who was like helping me train to be better with a certain character because he was like pro level. So I'm playing with him, and then he's like, "Oh, this new game came out, Left 4 Dead. Like it's a really good game. You need to play it with us." And I was like, "Okay, sure." So I literally like just took the suggestion of this guy and went and bought the game. I think I played it with them like a few times, but they were so much like him and like probably like a couple of his friends or something. But they were so much better at it than me. I just felt like, what am I doing this game? I'm not even like having fun. They were playing on like impossible difficulty or whatever, like just doing the campaigns, like barely even really doing verses or like online verses or anything. And they were just like, I was just failing at it, like left and right, you know. And I was just like, what the fuck am I doing? So I put it down for like, however, I put it down for like a year, and then randomly picked it back up because I was like, I wonder if this game is like any good to me now because I have it and I don't have that many games. So that's when I started playing it again, and I randomly got into a lobby with Walter.
Mm,
And when I randomly got into a lobby with Walter, we for some reason clicked,
yeah.
and then it just like evolved from there. I don't even know how you knew. I honestly, I don't even know or understand how like we came to know each other or how you came to know any of the other people in that small immediate crew.
Chain reaction. I think it's just all chain reaction. I just yeah, I think I think I met you through Walt as well.
Really?
I think so. You know, it's crazy thinking about Walt because like there have been times where I would be driving from either South Jersey or from Philly, uh, and like my buddy, it's usually like coming from a party or something, and like my buddy who's with me would be passed out, and I would literally get on the phone with Walt and talk to him because like this was again right. I'm talking fat G, overweight, can't even stay awake behind the wheel. Like I used to fall asleep behind the wheel after driving for long hours, but I was always able to make the drive from Philly.
Oh, come on.
And but if I was like uncertain, I knew that because Walt, he was in a different time zone too, right? I think he was in the
I'm pretty sure you live in
Pacific.
Louisiana.
I'm really bad with geography, but I remember he would be like a few hours, I think, behind. Because I remember calling him at like midnight or 1 a.m. and he'd be up and just chilling. And I would
Yeah.
just talk to him on the phone while he would help me like stay awake on the road. It's just like, it's crazy. It's wild when you DM'd me asking about Walt and Denise. I was like, shit. Like, I don't know what happened to them. You know, we were all connected on Facebook,
Yeah.
at one point, and then I don't know. It's weird. It
Like
just
I don't use Facebook at all anymore. I don't know if you do.
I do because trying to push the business, and then just I don't know. Like I try to be as casual as possible. I have like a very toxic relationship with social media, so I'm very
No, yeah, I get
I
it.
try so hard to be disciplined, and then when it's not working out, it shows. Like you can tell when I'm affected by BS on social media because it starts to
Oh, for
show,
sure.
and then I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
to like, evacuate, get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah. I
yeah,
wonder if there's any way that we can reach out to Walt. Um,
yeah. I don't.
I mean, he's probably got a completely different phone number or something.
Who knows? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I do. Like I said before, I just have sometimes these random moments. I'm like, I just reminisce on the like days like that, like playing Left 4 Dead. And I'm like, I wonder how like like again, I've been following you from afar, so I've had an idea on like what you've been up to, but I've always like, man, what's Walter up to? what's Denise up to? Like,
Yeah,
I
who
remember.
knows?
Yeah. So I'm like, over all those years, I'm glad that we were able to be this close over all those years.
Yeah,
Even though we
absolutely.
haven't been that close, a lot of missed opportunities. That's my bad on that part. But
Nah, no
I'm
worries.
happy. I'm happy that we're able to do this and like catch up.
Yeah,
It's really
absolutely.
cool. Um, so now pursuing fashion, I mean, so is like, do you no longer have any like drive, like creating music or in any sense? Like, I don't know, like you ever think, because like, I'm thinking maybe one day you might have like a fashion show. I'm like, would you like produce your own music for your own fashion shows if you ran one? Or I'm just like,
Oh, that's an interesting question, actually. There was the bassist from the last band that I was in actually helped me to write an instrumental for the runway that my collection will be premiering on in the fall.
oh, word,
So
okay,
that was pretty cool to be a part of that and
nice.
get to create that song. But yeah, I will say just about like having the drive, I guess, to create more music. I don't do anything creatively unless the inspiration and the spark is there. And
Mm,
so for me, I feel like I accomplished as much as I could kind of with creating music, at least for that part, the large, part of my life where I was
yeah.
creating it. I felt like I got out of it exactly like what I needed for the
Mm,
most part, and then it's like, okay, now here's the mature thing. It's like, rather than like beating a dead horse and trying to keep pushing to do music related things when I know I don't have that sort of like driving force, that driving creative force. I'm
yeah.
just going to take my inspirations elsewhere. I'm just going to draw inspiration from other things and like, creatively get into doing other things. So that's kind of where I'm at. I can't like
Mm,
rule out that. I can't say like, oh, I'll never create music again or anything like that.
right.
It just depends. It depends on
Gotcha.
my state of mind, my mindset, and what is, that driving sort of a creative spark that really starts to set things in motion.
Okay. I respect that. Yeah. Yeah. You're not completely ruling it out, but it's
Yeah, I
just
don't
one of
rule
those.
anything out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I
Okay.
mean, there's something that hit me one day where I'm like, I really need to like do this graphic design idea, or like I really need to paint
Yeah.
this. That's the only way I can kind of get the creative idea out, is I have to do it through this specific medium. But it just so happens that right now, everything that I'm tied up in, I'm putting all of my ideas into fashion design, especially because I'm trying to transition from just being a fashion designer into like making it my job. You
Mm,
know, and at least and then I'm trying to find work in the industry right now in general, just like doing what I can, like assisting somebody in doing technical design or just whatever may exist out there. It's just really tough. It's a really saturated market, um,
mm,
for sure.
yeah.
People doing like fashion related work.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't know.
I've had a lot of friends that were fashion majors, fashion designers, and I've always admired uh a lot of their actual like their illustrations of when they're designing outfits. Like it was always that traditional. I don't know if there's a name for the type of model that they would use, but it had the very long
There is,
legs.
yeah, it's a croaky.
There we go. That's it. Wow. Okay. I definitely remember that word now. Woo! Takes me back. Yeah, croquis. Oh, yeah. So I would see a lot of the sketches and illustrations. So I've always enjoyed seeing that. At least that one aspect of fashion design. I know there's a lot more
Sure, yeah,
that goes on,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean, just because I'm a visual illustrator myself, so I've always enjoyed seeing their sketch work and everything. So that was always cool. Now being in this working in this like industry, have you gotten a lot of flack from like, you know, people that are body conscious and all of that?
Well, it's kind of tough to say because there hasn't been, while there has been some general reception, I think a couple of people have sort of had an issue with my stuff, but it's like my stuff is all made to order, therefore it's all made to measure. And it's even stated on the
Mm,
website, like I can create,
gotcha.
we're creating custom clothing from scratch. So if you need specific points of measure for the clothing, like if you really want one of the pieces, but it doesn't fit you, you know that it won't fit you properly, like according to the size chart, like we can
Yeah.
make it however. We can make it to whatever size, whatever specifications, you just have to communicate that. So there hasn't been a whole lot of pushback from people that are like, oh, this is like, there's no way this would fit on my body
Gotcha.
type of person, because it's like it could, you
Hmm.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
yeah,
imagine like stuff like that must, I'm sure like that's happened a couple times, over this course of running this business. Like, I mean, right? I mean,
yeah, and
mistakes happen.
it's mostly just like anonymous assholes on Reddit who just want to start arguments for
There's
no
a lot
reason.
of them.
Yeah,
There's a lot of them.
of course, because it's Reddit. But yeah,
Are you
whatever.
on Reddit a lot?
Not a whole lot, but generally when I have like a new outfit picture or like something showcasing some of my work that I want to kind of promote, like I'll hit up a few of the different subreddits and sort of post like myself wearing my own creations or just stuff like that in general. Just yeah.
Mm.
Which it depends on the subreddit, and I think the nature of what's in the post in general sometimes does pretty well, sometimes just does nothing and completely tanks. So it's just really weird.
Mm.
Reddit's really bizarre
Yeah.
place.
I had a friend trying to pitch it to me, try to get me on there. I'm very stubborn, so it's often tough to convince me to like jump on any wagon.
Sure,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. Like it's like it can make and break me like that quality because it could be something really helpful, but I'm like, man, nah. Just because like people are like, oh, you should do it, man, you should do it. And I'm like,
Yeah,
nah,
yeah, yeah.
fuck that, nah.
I do
Uh,
use Pinterest pretty regularly.
yeah, I have a Pinterest, but I think I only started an account back when I was working for when I was doing like freelance work. But
Mhm. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I mostly use it just for like reference images or
yeah.
for like mood board stuff.
And that's
Um,
exactly why I started Pinterest is for references because I was
yeah,
doing like product design type of stuff. And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's crazy. I, you know, all right, I've been thinking about this recently, and I've been asking a couple people, what are your thoughts on AI creating art, whether it's paintings, music, speeches, and whatever else that they're capable of doing?
Do you have like a concrete or solid like recent example of this like happening where
So,
it's like
all right, I would have to. I should have something prepared, but
yeah, because I the only thing that
it's
I can
it's out there. I know that because I've been
I
hearing
can
about
think
it.
of, the only thing that I can think of in reference to what you're asking is I think people were like posting on their Instagram stories this weird like muddled sort of art collage that came out of an app that you can download that
Mhm.
creates art for you. It's just like you give it like several reference images and you pick the style and it'll sort of just like mix it all up and turn it into a weird like uh art picture.
I've seen a friend post something like that, but then I'm
Yeah.
also hearing it like on other podcasts, like god damn it. Like it was a podcast on Joe Rogan with this with a guest Duncan Trussell, because he like knows like he like interviewed some person that's like very involved in like that tech world.
Sure.
And I don't know if you want to call it a software or a program or just some engine where you would type in keywords, just given all the details, all these keywords on like what you would want in this painting, and then it would create that in like a matter of seconds. So there's that example, but I've also seen, like, I just seen like like I saw an ad about speech generating AI, like, AI creating speeches for people. And then I saw like a Facebook reel of this guy, like, again, I guess this is like an app or something, but I don't know how, like, what he did to come up with the result, but whether it's like typing in musical influences like artists or whatnot, but he would type in, again, keywords, and then the AI would create some fresh new music by like a certain artist, but they never did, or just something crazy like that. And it's just
What
like,
the hell?
it's just crazy, because then it's like really like to the point where I'm like, so like, when are we gonna be obsolete? Like the artist, the actual like organic artist creating organic art. Like it's just wild that there's like this thing. Like, and
I don't know if AI will ever get to that. I mean, I sure probably shouldn't say that, but I probably shouldn't say that at all. But in my mind, I'm like I don't know if AI will ever get to the point where, like, damn, because with a person creating art, you can get so specific about
yeah,
what you want, about what you want created. I feel like with AI, it's always going to be slightly ambiguous. So I don't really know. That's going
it's
to be
just
a
tricky.
very interesting technological development to watch out for, or just to watch in general. I don't even know if we really need to watch out for it necessarily, because I don't know how
Yeah,
advanced that technology is really going to be, like, within our lifetime.
yeah.
But
I mean, I'm very intrigued. That's for sure. I don't want to say I'm completely worried, but it's just like, because like, like, there's all these trends and stuff with apps and filters and stuff. Like I saw, like, I remember one, like, not too long ago, people were just suddenly like, I guess, using this like filter app for their profile pictures, and where it kind of made them look, it like illustrated them in a style where it's kind of like a portrait painting, but it's very I don't know, they made these beautiful portraits out of people's, I don't know, photos or whatever they would use. And
yeah,
I'm seeing so many of these, and like, I had a friend that I grew up with, and she like did like her whole family, and I'm just like, damn, like, it's like, if those were like commissions, like, I'd be set for a while.
well, I will say, because art in general, and I guess in this case, like, specifically like visual arts, being generated by AI or people or whoever, art is so subjective that I don't think that any amount of art that can be created or recreated by an AI will really do much to hinder the need for art from humans. You know what I mean? Because people create art as an outlet. They create art as sort of like their creative vision or their, like, release. You know what I mean? So that'll continue to happen, and as long as people keep continue to do that, I think there will still be a need for it to come from actual people, especially because if AIs are all generating a type of art form that's more valuable in one sense for one target audience, the actual artists are just going to switch and do something else and create an entirely different market. So I think that it'll all sort of continue to push onto itself, and it'll all continue to evolve as art has done ever since, the beginning of time, and as ever since, as it will continue to do, like, throughout the future. So I don't know. That's why I'm not, like, too insanely worried about
Yeah, yeah.
AI creating art.
They're out there. Oh!
So,
All right, all right. There was one memory I wanted to bring up.
okay,
This is
one memory.
last Left for
Good.
Left for Dead memory. It was like this one time. This is very specific, so I'm not really expecting you to remember it, but it was so prominent in my brain because it's so funny.
Shit.
But it was me, you, and Davey. We were playing Left 4 Dead. I don't know if we were playing online or just doing just an offline campaign. I think we were actually playing live because we were zombies and I was a hunter. And I guess you guys were waiting to respawn or something, but you were watching me try to take someone down. And I guess I missed like the jump. And then you guys were just like, just scratch him, just scratch him. Do you remember that?
No, but it sounds like something that would happen.
I get it's like I said, it's like a very specific, and it's such a small little memory that I've always held on to because like I guess it just sounded so funny coming from you and Davey because like, Davey was Dave. I guess like
sitting right next to you.
No, he was like at his house.
Okay,
but I mean, just Dave. If you remember, Davey's voice was unique. Yo, scratchy, yo. He just has such a bass to his voice. Yeah, for the people tuning in, I'll have to get Davey on one day. He's been on the podcast, but like way back. So, but
yeah, he's having fun.
Yeah. And anything else? Anything else you wanna mention on the podcast? We can bring it home. We can close this thing out.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if anybody wants to follow me, I'm sure you're gonna already have all the links and stuff and press in the descriptions of the video or on the podcast page, whatever. But yeah, my personal page is at ENTREM Coder, and then the brand page is at entrem.us, which is also the link for the website. And so later on this year, I hope to sort of release a diffusion line within the brand where I think I'm going to start doing some really small, limited batch sort of production runs of some of these newer designs that I have coming out. And so I think that I'll be able to start releasing things at a slightly more affordable price point. So it's going to be nice to actually have a few like small batch items like on hand that I can sort of physically like showcase and like either take to people and let them see it or stuff like that. So that'll be really cool. It'll be really fun. I have a few things in the works. So
awesome.
Stay tuned.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, this will be out on August 1st, just so you know.
Yep.
So yeah, again, people that are tuning in, definitely peep the show description for the links. Make sure you follow Dylan Pritchard on all the active links. Yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in, for joining us. Again, if you enjoy this content, please be sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell, leave a comment. Even if fuck it. If you didn't like it, say something. It'll be great feedback for me. I can always figure out ways to make this show a better experience now. But I did have a great time sitting down with you, Dylan. Thank you again for doing this with me. I did warn you. I was like, this might be like a real, like more of like a real nostalgic catch up, like sit down. I wanted to do my best to promote your brand. I hope I did okay, but I was just really
this was so much fun. Don't apologize. This was so much fun. I'm having a great time.
You're always welcome to come back. So now that you mentioned these projects that you got going on, and if you want to come back and promote them as the day gets closer on when you're ready to launch these projects, feel free to hit me up. I would love to have you back on and just catch up some more.
Sure.
Yeah, so with all of that said, everyone tuning in, please stay safe, stay healthy, stay aware, and we will catch you on the next one. Peace out. I just had to like throw in that little throwback in there before we officially started. Just It felt right. It's been so long.